What is going on?
Hello.
Thank
How
you
are
for
you?
coming by the podcast.
Thank you for having me. I was so thrilled when you wanted me to come in.
I know, right? This is why we created this place. You know what I mean? Like how it's so hard in Riverside to get promotion, and then especially if you're not like, there's nothing. It's like, who do you go to get promotion for something you're trying to put on?
You build it from the ground up is what you do.
Exactly.
You become
Or
the leader in
you
the
walk
industry.
Or you walk around the art lot. No, was it art walk that day or no?
Festival of Lights.
It was Festival of Lights. And handing out cards.
That's what you do.
Why don't you tell everyone who you are?
My name is Julie Rose. I am a local artist. I live literally down the street in Riverside from downtown area. I love it here. I'm an enthusiastic Riverside citizen.
Yeah.
And I have an art show coming up this Saturday, which I'm very excited about. So
Why don't you
that's
tell everyone the information for that?
yeah, so that's going to be this Saturday, December 17th, 6 to 9 p.m. at the Eastside Art House, which is 4177 Park Avenue in Riverside. The Eastside Art House is amazing. It's a fantastic, co-working studio space. So most of the time there's, tables and easels and everything set up for the members to come and work. That's where I completed all my paintings for the show. And then once in a while we'll do a gallery show. So we transform the space into a gallery. And I'm the first person to do a solo show there, which is very exciting. So
That's exciting. How long have you been doing art for?
Pretty much my whole life. Everyone says that, but
Yeah.
I grew up in a very small town, small school, rural Wisconsin, and I was branded the art kid very early, which is good and bad. I got a lot of opportunities that way, but it was also kind of in a box. And then I decided to come out here and explore. And then I had like big fish in a small pond syndrome, and I was okay, compared to all these amazing artists out here, I'm nothing. But after years and years of practice and learning and continuing to go to school, RCC, went to school at RCC and take a lot of their classes there, and I still do because it's awesome. And then once I had all those skills built up, I found the art house, and with their encouragement, now I'm having my solo show, and I really feel like a professional artist. So
congratulations.
it's great.
This is your first one.
My first solo show,
Wow.
my premiere solo show.
This show is sponsored by Resilient Real Estate Group, powered by EXP. So, you're thinking about buying and selling soon? Yes, we know you probably know a realtor, your mom's best friend's cousin's neighbor, puts her face on the local shopping cart. But you know what? Our friends at Resilient Real Estate Group have helped hundreds of thousands of people sell houses over the years, and they definitely know what they're doing based on their 5-star review on Google and Zillow. So it doesn't matter if you're looking to buy $1 million house or a fixer-upper, make sure the next time you're thinking about buying and selling real estate, you give our friends a call over at Resilient Real Estate Group. And now we're back to the show.
Yes.
Wow, that's super exciting. Do you feel like art, I feel like I can't even draw a stick figure. Do you feel like art is very genetically based, and then you can build up from that, or?
I'm so glad you asked, because I get this all the time, because I also work as a face painter, right? So I'm going to people's parties all the time, and I'm painting publicly, right? And people tell me that all the time. I can only draw a stick figure. Yes, that's true. Yes, but I get that question a lot. You're just really talented. But I think it's a lot more like learning to play piano, right? Maybe some people are prodigies and can pick it up quickly, but most people, it takes practice. And just like anything, art is another thing that you can practice and get good at. Some people might have an affinity for it and can do it faster. Some people might have a little bit more work they need to put in it, but anybody can learn. Anybody can learn. There are fundamentals. I really truly believe that anybody can learn if they really want to.
Do you believe people should probably if they don't think they're great at art, they should just find some art that it's easier for them to adapt to? Because anything is art. I have a buddy of mine who does spray painting art, and he's really great at it, but he has that style and those things. So do you think too many people I want to be this kind of artist, when it's more or less maybe take the time to see which style or skill set you have before you go, get upset about not being good at it?
Absolutely. People are just too hard on themselves, and people have this very elitist idea of art too, that if it's not, a Renaissance style painting, that is not art. Absolutely crocheting is art. Absolutely, any of these things are art. Digital art is such an art. All of these things take skill and time, and there's a necessary need for all of these different kinds of art. So just putting it into a box and say, because I can't do this art, I'm not an artist, that's not true. There's all kinds of art that you can do.
So what's your style?
My style, so it's ho 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 Merry Christmas. Okay. I always wanted to play Santa in the Christmas play, so this is for you. This is a print that I have of one of my pieces. This is the first in the series that I did. It's called Hiromi. So this is kind of my style. I use a lot of like very experimental methods. So this background had actually been like 4 or 5 other paintings, and I never quite liked them. I was always like, it's fine. I don't like it very much. So I kept painting over it until I had all of these layers built up. And then I was like, okay, I'm just going to go and sand it and like bring back some of those layers and create and destroy at the same time. So you can see like a lot of the textures and stuff that are popping through. And then I also used like a roller brush, and I splattered ink, and I used spray paint, and I did this whole very experimental wild background. And then I used acrylic paint on this one to create like a more refined figure, and then layer back in some of these like peony flowers on top of it. So that was my process with this one, is like that very loose freedom to create and destroy and just make it wild, and then also having those like refined areas to like draw attention to. So that's for you.
Thank you.
Merry Christmas.
Adrian, we're gonna frame
holidays.
This, okay? So yes. Frame. So how long did it take you to really get like to kind of hone into your style? You know, like, I think that's the hard issue with, like, people being too hard on themselves. Like, I think it happens in anything in business or fitness or art or whatever. It's like you see someone who's where you want to be, but, like, you never ask them, like, how long it took them to get there.
Yes.
So, like, some people are like, you could have been like, yeah, but it took me 10 years to get here. You've been doing it for 4 months. That's why you haven't figured it out yet.
Exactly.
So for you, like, in your art journey, like, what was the time frame that it really took to, like, get where you're at today?
I am still there.
Yeah,
I am still in the thick of it. That's
Yeah.
the thing, is you have to have, like, you're never going to be there. Never. You're always going to be able to change and grow, and you need to, like, maintain that growth mindset as, like, I'm happy with what I'm doing now, but I'm okay if it changes in the future, you know, or find something in what you're doing that you like, and like know that it can change in the future, and don't box yourself into one thing. Like right now I'm really enjoying painting these like beautiful feminine figures and stories and stuff, but I don't necessarily want to do that forever. I also like making stickers, and I also like making pop culture stuff. Like I do, you know, all kinds of stuff, digital art. I want to explore all those things that like bring me joy, and each one of them informs the other. That's the good thing, is like wherever you're at right now and the other things in your life that you enjoy can all feed into your art and create something new. And as you grow as a person, so will your art, which is very exciting. Like, where is it going to be in the future, you know?
And then you can look back as like a timeline. Like, this is where I was at. This is the style of art I was doing at this time of my life. And then this time and this. Do you keep all your art pieces?
Yes, I do. Like a lot of my old stuff from classes, all of the different. So right before I was doing these kind of like experimental pieces that have the figure on them, I was doing just abstracts. So you can see my evolution from doing like really enjoying these abstracts and just learning about color, learning about form, learning about like how to lay things down in a pleasant looking way, to like that becomes a part of these new pieces. So like every step of the way you can kind of see like trace evidence in your art of your past. And that's also something too, is like you were saying before, a lot of people only see a finished product, you know. They don't very often like see the process behind it. Sometimes on purpose. Like a lot of artists don't want you to see the ugly phase, mistakes. But like every painting goes through an ugly phase, every single one. So if you can find an artist that you really enjoy that like shares their process, like a lot of the videos that I make for like YouTube and stuff, or not YouTube, for Instagram, the reels and stuff, I'll show like a lot of my process, and there are definitely ugly phases, and that kind of encourages you in your own practice. Like, it's okay to have the ugly phase. Nothing comes out perfect, you know, from the get-go.
So do you do like time lapse from your whole project?
A lot of time lapse, definitely.
A lot of time lapse.
It's also really fun for me to see that too, because it's like I'll put in a day of work and I'm feeling good, and then I'll look at it all condensed down into like 30 seconds, and I'm like, dang. That's kind of cool. It's really cool to see that.
Do you put like a schedule on your art? Like, do you treat it like a job?
I do. Yeah, I definitely do. Well, I have my weekends that I do the face painting and balloon twisting. I pretty much like assign my weekends to that, because you never know when a gig's going to come up. And then during the week, I do try and set kind of like office hours for myself to be in the studio, working, like even if just being in a space where you can create that's not your living room.
I tell you that. I think that's the biggest mistake everyone makes. They think every single person, doesn't matter, artists, whatever, business people like us, like whatever. It's like, oh, I can just do that at home. You literally cannot.
You can't.
You cannot. Like, I have people all the time, they hit me up, they're like, hey, how do you think of all your content ideas? And I'm like, I'm here. And then I just go, oh, this is an idea. And then I'm like, hey, I'm going to go shoot this right now.
Mm-hmm.
Like, Adrian, set the camera up. Let's shoot. We've got a little bit more structure than that. But, like, it's crazy because people are like, well, I can't. I'm like, well, yeah, you're sitting in your living room in sweatpants. You have no creativeness around you. No one's sitting there you're not forcing yourself to think of new ideas. And, of course, no new ideas are going to come.
Yeah, it's definitely that, like, getting out of that zone that is, like, because we very compartmentalize, I feel like. So home is for relaxing.
Yeah.
If you're in front of the TV, like, there's so many distractions. There's so many things that you can do other than create. So if you remove yourself from that, or in your house, like, designate a spot. If you can't afford a studio or something, like, designate a spot where, like, this is where I create and I go to do this. You know, it's just gonna really help you. You have to create a space to create.
Well, creating's hard too.
It is. It's
Creating's
work.
So
it's work.
hard. Like, people just think these ideas just come out of nowhere. It's like, I'm assuming, what inspires you to paint? Like, for me, it's like, I'm always looking at articles or other people's videos or things that are happening in real life, and like, okay, how can I piece this all together into a video? Like, for you, like, what have you felt like or what's currently inspiring you to do your art?
Yeah, so currently just being in a space with other artists is incredibly powerful.
Do you feel like you're competing with them?
Is in the best possible way.
Yes.
In the best possible way.
But it's competing.
Yes, it's almost like that, like, classic, like, rivalry that you see, like, on TV and stuff sometimes. It just pushes you to be better, to be around people who are working. Like, maybe you go into the studio not intending, like, you're just kind of, like, dragging your feet or whatever, but being there and seeing other people work is like, oh, dang, like, I'm going to get to work. Like, I want to be like this. So that absolutely has been a huge inspiration, finding a community of artists and a shared studio space that I can create and get feedback in real time is awesome. And then as far as, like, content from my work, I'm really inspired by, like, international folklore and stories and fairy tales. So a lot of the times I'm, like, listening to stories and, like, translating that into my work. Like, this show is based around the idea of the red thread of fate. So that's a story from East Asia they tell about how soulmates are, like, tied together by this red thread at birth, and it's unbreakable and they can find each other. And then I was like, oh, I can expand on this idea. Like, what other things are we tied to? We're tied to the places we call home. That's, like, my piece, Marisol. And we have other things that we can be tied to, like, one of my favorite stories from China is the story about this goldfish, and it wants to see the world, and it tries really, really hard, and it works super diligently to, like, climb the tallest waterfall so that it can see up there, and it works for years and years, and it finally achieves its goal, and it's transformed into the first dragon. So it's about, like, determination and never giving up and following your dreams, and I was just, like, so inspired by that. So my last piece that I did for the show is called Jinyu, which means goldfish in Mandarin, and it's got, like, a gold leaf goldfish in the background, and then a character who's, like, holding on to their own thread. They're tying themselves to their dreams and not letting go. A lot of that stuff, kind of, like, all of these things that inspire me get translated into the artwork that I can create. So
obviously, you know, it's always scary to chase something new. So, like, do you remember the moment in time, like, when you came from Wisconsin, a small town, to come out here and, like, I always, like, try to find the moment in time, and I really wish I would have documented those things even a little bit more. But, like, do you remember the moment in time where you're like, I got to go to Southern California, or I need to go out to a different place if I want to try to expand my art?
Yeah, it was more about just my life, you know, like, more than just one thing. It was like, it's a huge deal to move from your hometown and everything that you know. And I'm not saying, like, that everyone has to, like, what
part of Wisconsin?
Very rural Wisconsin, so it's called Turtle Lake. Turtle Lake, shout out, Lakers. But population was like 1,200. My school was K through 12 all in one building, so I had the same 30 kids in my class from the time we were in kindergarten to the time we graduated.
Are you, like, way up north?
Pretty much, yeah. We're closer to Minnesota, like 2 hours from Minneapolis, probably. Lots of cows, lots of farmland, and I love it. I had a really great childhood, and I'm so grateful for the support of like my parents and my friends. And as soon as I graduated, like despite having all of that, I still felt like I really wanted to see the world, and I really wanted to be somewhere like really diverse with all kinds of like different people and different foods, and California is like the place to be, right? Like you can't do better than that.
They don't process what a small town looks like. They don't know, like, when you've only lived in Southern California, you have no idea how many super small towns there are where there is only 15,000 people, 10,000 people. Everyone knows everyone. Yeah. There's one of everything. Everything shuts down at 5 o'clock. Yeah. Like, you go to school with the same people for 12 years. And if you move into that small town, everyone's like, who is this person? Like, yes. If you don't know what it's like to live in a small town, it is definitely a different vibe.
It is. It was great though. I really love that town, but I was ready for some sunshine. I was ready for some.
It gets cold up there.
It does. It's very cold. It's snowing there right now, I'm sure.
It's freezing today, and it's like 44 or 45.
I'm like the weakest weather person anymore. Like I have fully gone to the dark side of like it's 70 degrees. I need a sweater.
Yeah, I know, right?
My parents are so ashamed of me right now.
Like, you're like, I only come home in the summertime. I can't handle wintertime there. So when you came out here, what was like, did you like plan to go to college out here and do your art, or like you just kind of threw your stuff in a car?
I did.
And was like, hey, wherever it's going to take me, it's going to take me.
I was a wild child. I did not have a place to stay. I didn't have
Why is that
really
only
an
to
idea.
California?
Like,
why is that only the story when people come to California? No one says that when they go anywhere else. But California, so many people are like, I jumped in a car and I just drove to California, and I'd said, I'll figure it out when I get there.
You make it work. You make it work because you want it. You want it's not the American dream, it's the California dream.
Yeah, we have a different one.
Yeah, I don't know. There's something about it that just really draws that kind of like free spirit person who's like kind of okay with that. I think just like the allure of the lights and the sunshine and all of that, you can't resist.
I think we take it for granted because we're from here.
Yeah,
we don't know any other, and we know no different.
I so appreciate it here. Like I am the biggest, most enthusiastic like Riverside fan. Yeah, it's so funny. I've lived a lot of places. I lived LA. I lived Orange County. I lived a lot of places in those big cities, and this is the place that really feels like home. Like I love Riverside to my bones. Like it's so great.
Riverside's a real artsy town. It's a very artsy town. If you do not realize, like, I guess if you're not like in downtown, like say you live up in Orange Crest or on the west side, like you don't realize like how many art studios are actually in downtown. Then you have art studios like yours, big art museums. They have, I think, the Rain Cross place is about to open. That's gonna be another art studio kind of place. It's just
there's no better place I think to be right now as an artist, as a creative in general, than the Inland Empire, than Riverside. Like the money that's coming in from different like national programs and stuff, the Cheech Museum opening, we've got all these amazing murals going in all over town. You've seen them from Jeff Gouveia. Like our studio does a lot of them. Juan Navarro, he's the founder of the Eastside Art House. He's been putting in all kinds of murals over in the East Side. Like it's an arts hub. Like
it is.
I'm so excited to be here and see it grow into this thing, and I'm just feel like I'm in the right spot at the right time
place,
for
right
sure.
Yeah. And it must feel great because like we were talking a little bit about you competing against other artists, and you're gonna be the first person to have their own show
at my studio. Yes, that's very exciting, but no pressure.
Yeah. So moving forward, so for you, like now that you have this project, and this kind of hopefully be like a stepping stone, like is this like a main feature? Like I don't really know how artists make money, to be honest. Like obviously the big people. For you, is it like, obviously people want to take their dream into a profession. So for you, is it like selling stuff on Instagram, Etsy, or hopefully more shows like this? Like what's the plan?
I think so. Interestingly, I feel like I'm a small business that kind of wants to stay a small business in a way. Like as great as it would be to have like some big international recognition or anything like that, like I really don't necessarily want that hassle. Like I want to stay here.
The process would come with that.
Yes, I don't necessarily want that, and I'm just so happy like creating the way that I want to create at my own pace, which is a fast pace. Like I make product, like I make paintings very quickly, but I also don't feel that pressure because I already do work as an artist, like full time, my entertainment business doing the face painting and balloons does really well on the weekends, and I don't want to leave that behind. So I think my primary goal is to be able to sell my original artwork for like a decent price, going rate. For emerging artists is around like $5,000 for a big piece. The pieces I do are 30 by 40 and larger, so like that's very large, and each one takes time to make.
And how much it costs to make those?
Yes,
just the canvas prices are insane.
Yes, canvas or the cradled wood is expensive, and the products, like I only use the best paints because that's another thing that I can recommend to people. Maybe it's a tangent, but a lot of people
this is a podcast. Tangent.
Okay,
very welcome.
We're tangenting.
I can waste no time, cause I gotta keep it tight. I'm in my bag, got my eyes on the price. I can waste no time, cause I gotta keep it tight. I'm in my bag, got my eyes on the price. I can waste no time, cause I gotta keep it tight. Give me the bass, give me the beat. I'm in my bag, this round is on me. Give me the bass, give me the beat. I'm in my bag, this round is on me. Give me the bass, give me the beat. I'm in my bag, this round is on me. Give me the bass, give me the beat. I'm in my bag, this round is on me.
Dude, yes. So that's the thing that also really holds people back in their artwork is like, they're like, okay, I'm going to be an artist now. I'm finally going to like try this. And then they pull out like some dusty bin of paints that they've had, like that they got as a present. Yeah. That's like a, $10 box of paints. And like, it's like painting with oven mitts on at that point. You're setting yourself up to fight every step of the way. Like, can you create something great with that? Sure, but it's going to take so much more effort than it has to. Like, treat yourself to the good products. Take the time to like understand how good products work, because if you practice with bad products, then you're going to get really good at using bad products.
And then you get frustrated.
And then you get frustrated too. Yes, and it's all like you have to lower the barriers for yourself to doing something. Lower anything that's standing in your way from creating. You need to eliminate it. Like, eliminate barriers. And having bad products and not using like good quality things is going to stand in your way. Absolutely.
I know it's so crazy. People want, what sucks is it really does suck, but like to get into anything, it does cost a little bit of money.
It does.
It just does. You can't get into, like it was said, like I want to be an artist. Like it does have an entry cost of what it costs.
Well, even just putting on the show, like I'm paying for a lot of stuff out of my own pocket. Yeah. It's a huge investment. Absolutely. That I'm hoping, maybe one or two of my paintings will sell, hopefully all of them.
You're going to have food or what?
Yeah. So I have a charcuterie. Yes. So a charcuterie display. It is gorgeous. It's from, Appetito. Oh my gosh, I can't remember right now. Appetito. It's gorgeous. It's on my Instagram thing. I'll link to them for sure. That's a local creator who makes beautiful charcuterie tables. I've got wine. We're gonna have like music, and we're turning the space into a gallery. So it's just gonna be a really nice evening.
Is there an entry cost to get in?
No, absolutely not. It's free, and it's for all ages. And it's also the same, Saturday night, the Festival of Lights will be going on. You can swing over to Eastside, which is not even 5 minutes from, Downtown Drive.
Yeah.
So you can come over to the Festival of Lights too and enjoy that. Like, make a whole night of it, Like, it's going to be great.
That sounds exciting. It's like, it's so crazy. People don't realize, like, throwing events is like throwing a birthday party, and then nerve-wracking that no one's going to show up.
Yes.
Like, people are on me all the time. People are like, why don't you throw client appreciation events? I'm like, you're totally right. I know I should do these. But I'm like, it's just one more thing on the to-do list, and I'm not gonna lie, like it's a lot of work, and money. And what if no one shows up? Then it's like all this, you know what I mean?
It is.
Was that something you never thought about when you became an artist? Oh, I'll re-answer this question. What are things you didn't process that when you took the step into being an artist that you like maybe wish you would have known before, or they were just like something unknown that you're like, oh, I never even thought this would be something I would have to tackle? Was it?
It is, a lot of it is managing expectations, right? Yeah. Like, you feel like just because you're making this and like you're doing, just because you have something good, like you feel like, okay, success will follow, Yeah. I never expected it to be so hard to move prints or to move product. Like I we set up as a group booth for like the Day of the Dead, where there's, hundreds and hundreds, thousands of people walking by, and, I have my art on display, and we get a lot of really positive feedback, but it also is really hard to sell anything, you get a lot of positive feedback and very few sales. And so just setting those expectations of like, yes, like until you do build like your rapport, until you build kind of a fan base, until you reach out to other people, you know, on social media and things like that, and kind of build this interest, like just because you have a great product doesn't guarantee success, you know?
That can preach.
Yes, yeah.
And
So
that's
there's
the
a
crazy
lot
part.
more work that goes into it.
And then it sucks because you do look at other people's stuff and you're like, my stuff's way better than that person's stuff.
Well, yeah, but what are they doing different? They're promoting.
They're promoting.
Yes, they're making connections. They're meeting with other artists. They're doing the legwork too. So there's a lot of legwork that goes into it that I kind of did not expect. Of you kind of have to be your own social media manager. You have to, you know, do public relations and all that kind of stuff. And there's a lot of other work that goes into it. And but it's worth it. It's worth it.
It's great. But people, I don't think, process that. It's like you have to be a great artist.
Yeah.
Then you have to be great at managing your time, and then you have to be great at social media, and then you have to be great at like, can we go back to like, I know like obviously social media has been great for me, but it's like, God, I don't think people, when it goes from part like not your job and then it becomes your job, the way you look at Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook and YouTube or whatever else you use is completely different.
Oh yeah, it's like necessary evil.
Yeah, right.
Like, I don't want to be glued to this, but I am.
I know, but then it's like people are like, "What's so hard? Just post something." I'm like, "You can just post your food, like I like, or post some random thing."
No, you have to brand it. Yes.
I have to intentionally post something, not post too much, post enough. I have to make sure the copyright is good. I got to make sure. Does this make sense? Does this work? Are we on point? It's a process. People, when you go from not doing, but it's the same thing. I think people make the mistake when they get into real estate as a realtor. It's like, oh, I'm just gonna get my real estate license, and people are gonna hire me.
It's all gonna be gravy.
Yeah, people are gonna hire me, and then you're like, and then you get like the good, congrats, kill it, I'm proud of you, and then you're like, 3 months later, you see them buy a house with someone else. You're like, what the heck, dude? You comment saying congrats. Like, I thought you were going to use me. But it's the truth. Like, there's so many artists out there. And then for you, it's like, does my style fit with this person's style? And would this something they bought in their house?
Don't take it personal. That's the other thing.
Yeah.
It's not personal if somebody doesn't like prefer your style, you know? Like you just have to do your best to get out there because some people will. If not everyone does, some people will. And that's the one that's really special because you get somebody like I did have somebody who came back for one of my prints. Like they went past it at one of those festivals that I was vending at, and they came back and they were just like, I cannot stop thinking about this piece. Like it really means so much to me. Yes, and it's those moments that, oh my gosh, you can be out there in like the cold and the rain vending, but that moment will like keep you going. It's so great.
That's why I love this podcast. This is why I started this podcast. I needed more yeses. Like I needed more like, everyone's like, oh my God, this is awesome. I'm totally down. Or like sweet, like positive feedback. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Because it's hard sometimes.
It feeds the soul.
You get in your head sometimes when it's like, what's wrong with me? Is my stuff not good enough? And then you have to realize like maybe I just come across a lot of people in a short amount of time that my style just doesn't fit their style.
Yeah.
You know, and that's okay.
It's okay.
You know, like, and it's like, I think we forget we even do that. Like, you know, I don't like that style of car. I don't like that style of house. I don't like that style of clothes. But then it's like, for us, like, everyone should love my art.
Yeah, why are we so hard on ourselves?
Yeah,
we have to give ourselves the same grace we give everybody else.
Agreed.
Sometimes, you know, like.
How do you handle our process when, like, maybe you're painting something and it's just not coming out the way you want it, or maybe you're just sitting there and you're not feeling inspired or whatever? How do you, obviously that's a big probably step that people probably hit and they don't know how to get past, so then they quit. So for you, like, how do you handle that process of getting past that stuff?
That's a really good question too, because this happens in everything. This isn't just art. This is every single possible thing that you can do. Sometimes you hit a wall, you know, and that's rough because for me, I've started to really take the time to recognize that, like
Just admit it.
that I'm hitting a wall. And sometimes that's all it takes, because in the past, before I was doing that, I would just push myself through. I'm like, okay, this just needs to be done. I just need to keep working on this. And that's when you really start making mistakes. That's when you start digging your hole deeper and deeper. Because you're rushing and you're just like trying to force it through. So sometimes just taking a break, stepping back, like especially with artwork, like literally stepping back.
And that's why I think it's great when it's separate.
Yes.
You know, if it's in your living room and you're just staring at it all day,
yes,
it's not going to work well for you.
It's not. It's you, because you you keep seeing those kinds of the same kind of things, and you need a fresh perspective. So, and that's just great advice for anything. So, like, sometimes just look at it from a different perspective, come back to it after a while, work on something else. I always have at least 6 different projects going at the same time. So I'm just bouncing around. I'm like, I find something that I can enjoy doing at every step of the way. So I'm not, and there's always going to be some point where I have to go back and do the hands. I hate doing hands, but I will do them at some point. But you have to like let yourself into it the easy way. Like, again, it's just a way of lowering the barrier to entry, lowering the barrier to creating, is using something that you do enjoy as the in to finish the stuff you don't enjoy that much, you know? Like, so like sometimes it's maybe not like the proper sequence, but when I do gold leaf, I really like doing gold leaf. So sometimes I get really excited to do that, and I'll do that before I have the main part of the figure finished. And that's fine. It doesn't change anything. It doesn't affect it. Like, it's my process, right? There is no right or wrong.
There's no right or wrong. You do whatever you want.
That if I'm really feeling like doing that today and I'm not feeling like painting, that's still making great headway. It's still enjoying the whole process. It's still being there and showing up to do the work. And then once I have that done, sometimes it like flows more easily into like, okay, since I'm already here, like I might as well keep working on this part.
Get that momentum going.
Yes, it gets the momentum going. Like, any little thing that you can find that you enjoy in it to get you started will keep the ball rolling. Like, incremental gains is what they talk about. It can apply to everything.
Do you collaborate with other artists when you're like in that wall? You're like, hey, come in. What do you think?
All the time.
Especially if you're in the space. You're like, hey, can you come look at this? What do you think? What do you think I'm thinking about doing this and that? And
absolutely, having a second opinion, having another set of eyes. And the thing is, like, being surrounded by other people who already work in art, it's like they speak your language. It's amazing. You don't have to sit there and explain like what they mean by value, like light and dark, like they already understand.
Isn't
and
that so much easier?
Yes, it's so amazing. So that's just another really great incentive to like go and do the work in a community, in a like shared space, or like with other artists around, is you're just gonna have those people who can give you like real feedback from people that you respect and that you like know what's good. So that really helps you like push through when you're having trouble, I think. How
does it work with your husband? Is he artsy?
He's not super artsy. I think he appreciates the art.
I didn't want to throw that statement out there. I didn't want to be totally off, but I'm like, obviously I've known him for a long time, and I know what he does for a living. Normally they're not the most artiest people. So
You'd be surprised though.
That's what I'm saying. You never know.
I think everyone has a strong creative streak somewhere. He makes really, really cool little characters. Like, he's drawn since high school.
Yeah.
So like he really likes that cartoony style, and he has a really great ear for music. Like, the stuff that he can hear in a song is so deep compared to what I can hear, So like I think everyone has artistic streaks, even CPAs, which is what my husband is. So he's an accountant.
Shout out if you need a CPA, call him.
Yeah, Siegler and Tweely. Yes, Andrew Siegler. He's so supportive and so amazing, and I think like one of the reasons that I can do what I do is because I have him there like backing me up, and he's just such a great compliment to me, like, because he does so much of like the analytical and business side, and he has that outsider perspective. So I ask him a lot because like he's not a working artist, so he can give me like a different person's opinion on what he thinks about this. So
especially like cranking out like an event, be like, okay, this is how much.
Yes. Oh my gosh, yes, and help me with like, what can I write off? Like, I had no idea. I was like, can I write off a haircut? He's like, no. Okay, I don't know.
Good to know. Good to know. I can't write that off anymore.
Yeah, ask your accountant what you can write off.
This isn't a CBS advice, but it is crazy how you do need that back-end support when you are trying to chase something that is not a standard thing. I mean, I think that's the craziest part. A big thing that people always ask me, like, hey, I want to get into real estate. I always say, how does your spouse think about this? And they go, why? And I'm like, because you're stepping into something where you might not be making money all the time. It's a lot of long hours. There's going to be a lot of things you do that they don't understand. Are they supportive or not?
Yeah, it's a partnership, and you can't make giant decisions without like your partner being informed if you're in business or in life. Like, yeah, I think that is a really good tip. Like, as much as, especially like reaching into the arts and like becoming something arty feels like a very personal journey, but like take your partner with you on it, let them know what's going on. Like, it doesn't have to be so just on your own shoulders. And I think that makes it in the long run something that's much more viable to do, like whether you're doing it like trying to switch full time for it to be a career, or if you're just doing it like to explore, I think having like making an effort to like let the people in your life know and understand what you're trying to do, I think will just benefit you in the long run. So
you say you take some classes at RCC. Like, how do you decide which classes you're going to take? Do you just take them whenever you feel like them? Or is it kind of something like, hey, I'm kind of trying to work towards something? How do you pick your education?
I am typically like quite a flighty person. I have a lot of flights of fantasy of like, okay, I'm going to be an animator now. And then I'll sign up for the animation class and take that. And even though like I tend to change a lot about what I want to do with my art, every single thing that you learn benefits you like as a person. Yes, it's another tool. Just learning to see the world in a different way, learning to understand what you're seeing. Like when you consume entertainment, like if you've taken an animation class, you can understand more what goes into it and appreciate it. Like it just makes you appreciate life so much more to have like any level of education in anything, like whether you're doing it at a school like RCC, which is an amazing school and I cannot recommend more. They have fantastic classes there, but even just learning online, like taking online courses or, like watching YouTube videos about how to do something, how to draw, every single one of those things is going to benefit you in surprising areas in your life. Like you won't think it's going to apply, but it will. It applies to all different kinds of areas of your life, like all these skills intermixing and just sparking new ideas for everything. Just makes you more creative.
Do you guys do classes at the art house?
We do offer like tutoring. We have done some classes like an advanced fundamentals class before. We usually promote when we're gonna offer one of those. It's usually like a 2-week thing. But not as much. It hasn't been like super heavily into it's more about creating a space for artists to be full-time artists in Riverside. Like that's the primary goal of the Eastside Art House, is we want to make it viable for people to be an artist as a full-time job in Riverside.
Well, if they don't focus on it, it's going to go away.
Yes, and we shouldn't be losing a lot of our talent here in Riverside who move to LA because they don't think that they can make it here, or like that there's not a space for it here in Riverside. Moving to LA, moving to New York, like moving other places than here. Like here is an art city now. Like we have to have a supportive community for people so that our homegrown artists and people who choose to be here can thrive as artists here in Riverside.
Well, I know at the Rain Cross, Anna Brown was on it, who owns the place. That place should be done actually today, I think.
Ooh.
Or soft opening today. But she's gonna allow Riverside artists, to put their art on the wall for free.
Awesome.
And be able to sell it on the wall at her spot, because she's like, it's blank anyways. Why not put stuff up there?
Yeah.
I think that's like kind of the thing. I don't think people process like selling a piece of art doesn't happen like overnight. It's like, and then you got to put it somewhere so people can see it, and then you got to do art shows, and it's a process to sell one piece of art that I think is overlooked.
Yeah.
Or even how long it takes you to make it. How long out of the 7 pieces, like how long was the longest piece it took you to do?
It's hard to tell because they are worked on like in chunks at a time, and there's a lot of like, do you count the design phase where I'm like layering everything together? Like I usually do a digital mock-up before I start the original
So you go
piece.
digital.
I design it digitally. I work out all the problems. This is another way to lower like that barrier to entry.
So you don't just go straight to the canvas.
Not usually. I have done that. I can do that. I can do it from life. Like, I enjoy that. It's a very different style. But for these kind of paintings that I do, I want to be able to control things and just make every step of the way a little easier for myself. So I design it digitally where it's really easy to like change things around and make sure that like I have the value right. Like I want this area to be darker and this area to be light so that this stands out. I can design all of that, and then I go in on the canvas and I already know where things are going to be, I can just kind of like go wild. As long as my values are right, I can kind of do whatever, as long as it matches this thing that I know looks good digitally, I can create it like physically.
Nice. Yeah. So you're not wasting product by making mistakes.
No, not really. I mean, mistakes can be good, but also like they can be a deterrent. They can make you like, oh, I feel like I have to fix all these mistakes now. And then that makes you less likely to keep going. So if you just like make it easier on yourself and design things so that you have confidence going into, it's just going to make it more likely for you to create.
What advice would you give parents that have kids that are leaning on the artness, the art style, or you can tell they have an art? Like my niece, I would say she's kind of has an arts to her, but it's like trying to find a tutor or trying to find, it's easier to put your kid in soccer or baseball than it is to get them better at drawing. So what advice would you give to parents that maybe they see something in their younger kids?
That's a really good question. I think for me, like, again, we put our own baggage on ourselves to be like, I can't draw with my kid because like I'm not a good artist, so I don't want to like draw with my kid. But for me, like my dad drawing with me growing up, he's not a great artist, like, but I thought he was.
You get it from your mom or your
dad? It doesn't really, like, we don't have
know?
a lot of like strong art in my immediate family. Like I was definitely the black sheep. Like all my brothers work in IT and do that kind of stuff, but I was definitely, I'm the baby too, so I guess maybe maybe that feeds into it. But just little things like that I do have such a strong memory of as a kid. It was just my dad drawing like a flower on the table. Was it amazing art? Absolutely not. But was it really powerful to me, like as a kid, seeing an adult still creating? Absolutely. So don't be afraid to get in there in person. Like you don't have to give this job of supporting the art in your child to somebody else. Like that's a really great way to cultivate it if you do have the funds and the time to like send them to a tutor or send them to an arts class. There's a lot of really great arts programs and after school programs and stuff. That's one really good way to do it. But I think just sitting down with your kid and drawing together, like it's fun, you don't have to put pressure on yourself that you have to be a great artist in order for them to get something out of it. Just sparking the joy of creating together, I think, is one of the most powerful things. Like having a person they look up to in their life, drawing with them and making it a great experience. It's just great. I think that's the thing that you can do.
You know I can waste no time, cause I gotta keep it tight. I'm in my bag, got my eyes on the price. You know I can waste no time, cause I gotta keep it tight. I'm in my bag, got my eyes on the price. You know I can waste no time, cause I gotta keep it tight. Give me the bass, give me the beat. I'm in my bag, this round is on me. Give me the bass, give me the beat. I'm in my bag, this round is on me. Give me the bass, give me the beat. I'm in my bag, this round is on me. Give me the bass, give me the beat. I'm in my bag, this round is on me.
So I'm gonna finish off on this. Obviously, we try to have these podcasts for people who, maybe are sitting on the fence, can draw, they want to take to the next level to maybe get more serious about. What kind of advice would you give someone who has a job, obviously, and they like doing it on the weekends and whatever, but they want to get to the point where they can maybe do a piece and sell it? What kind of advice would you give to them?
100% find a peer group. Like that was the turning point for me in my life. I went from doing it kind of like alone, like drawing in my room, like it's a very personal process in creating, to like when I finally joined a group of people, like I'm a member at the art house, or if you join like any sort of meetup, any sort of anything that encourages you like to socially create with other people, is gonna like really be the thing that pushes you over the edge, I think, into like, because not only is it just a fun way to like meet new people and to stay involved in it, just like anything, if you're joining a sport or if you want to start a sport, like it's more likely you'll continue to do it if you have like other people who are like expecting you to be there and who want you to be there and who encourage you along the way when you do have that bad day and when you are stuck feeling like you can't draw anything except a stick figure. Like you have people there to like help you through it because they've been through it too. So finding that community of peers absolutely will help you in that journey. And do you have to have that to do it? Absolutely not. But will you get better faster? Yes. You can get better on your own, but you will get better so much faster with a community group, for sure.
Shocking. Get a mentor.
Yes.
It's so funny. I sit across from so many people and it doesn't matter. Like, it's like the same like 3 or 4 things, like work hard, get a mentor, like have a good support staff, realize it's going to take time and be patient. Like it's like almost like the same like steps. Like it doesn't really matter who I'm talking to. It's always like kind of the same little thing. And then too, like taking the jump of leap when you feel it, and you got to take that. You're going to have to take a leap of that you're scared one way or another. And
no one is an island. That's the other thing, is like I feel like there's a lot of pressure. It's kind of like the American mythos is like self-made man, like self-made person, do it all by yourself or it's not worth it. But no one does it by yourselves. Like all of these connections, like I was just featured in the Riverside magazine. So like this issue right here, like I have this article or whatever. And this is like a serious dream come true moment for me. Like I never thought I would see.
On the wall yet?
Oh, it's going in a frame for sure. But I never ever thought I would see my work like in a magazine.
That's
But
awesome.
look at this, Riverside Magazine. And that's because I found my community. I found people who supported me. I found people who had connections to like be able to promote my work for me, and who are so enthusiastic about me and my work. And I'm so enthusiastic about them and their work. I want to give back to them. It's just this like positive feedback loop of like finding other people and wanting to support them, and they want to support you, and it's just dreams come true. Like the power of people,
the power of your, I mean, like the whole saying goes, what, your net worth is in your network. Like I have learned over the years, you will do better in life by the people you know than whatever you're trying to do. Like the people you know, especially if they've already done what you're trying to do, it cuts down on the amount of time it takes to learn. And the ability that the most successful people are always, mostly, not always, but 99% of the time are the most open.
Yeah.
And they'll just tell you, like, this is what I did. This is what you should try. If it doesn't work out, like, this is what we did after that. Like, it just cuts down on, like, the learning curve. It's like they've already gone through it.
They've already made all the mistakes you're about to make.
Yeah, exactly. They made all the same mistakes you've already made. Just cut down on it.
Yes.
And it's crazy why people think, like, I got this. I got this. I can do this on my own. And
that was me. That was absolutely me. Is like, I have to do everything on my own because I don't want, I don't want my like creative flow to be tainted or whatever. Yeah. But like, that's such BS. Like,
was it maybe a little bit too, like, you're a little nervous to show other people your art?
Oh yeah, it's a total cop out. Like feeling like, oh, it's all on me to do everything is like a total cop out.
You just don't want to like do something.
Yes.
Like, it's probably nerve wracking for you to like be in a studio now and you're watching other people, and like that it does add that extra little pressure and probably maybe some battles with the insecurity sometimes, especially maybe if you hit a wall. Or
it's good pressure. All of it is good because it's such a supportive community. It's not like we're competing with each other in that way, like, which I'm really grateful that I have a community both in my like face paint world and in the art world. And this one is just really supportive people who teach you what they know and they walk you through your mistakes because they're not trying to compete with you for like a client.
Because
like
that probably gives them joy too.
Yeah, it does. I think we all want to share those things. I think that's a part of all of us. I think no matter what field or thing that you're interested in, if you can find somebody who you respect and admire in that field, they're more than likely going to want to share with you, because we all want to feel like an expert. We all want to feel like that. I really enjoy that when I'm at the art house and somebody who's maybe more of a beginner, doesn't have as much experience or schooling, like I get to help them and it feels so good. And at the same time, I see somebody who's like a little further along in their journey than me, and I'm like, well, how are you doing this? And they're so happy to share with me. So it's a really great thing.
It's crazy. I think I always tell people, if you're unhappy with what's going on in your life, figure out a way to go truly help someone else, and like you will do better.
Yes.
It is the best feeling in the world to help someone else. As weird as that sounds, and until you figure that game out, it is truly like the moment you focus on someone else and try to go help someone else, it's a great feeling.
Yes. And it's also just like such a great way to learn.
Right?
Helping someone else like teaches you about
teaches you.
Yes, it really does.
So December 17th, 6 to 9.
6 to 9 p.m. the Eastside Art House.
Be there.
Yeah.
There's going to be food, drinks, and music. I mean, and amazing art. So thank you so much for coming on. I'm super excited to see when you have even on another magazine and another show, and the future is bright. So thanks, guys. Make sure you go subscribe to her, follow her page. If you want anything to know about art, you like her art pieces, make sure you send a DM. We always appreciate those kind of things. But until next time, guys, peace.